What the f... The Lighthouse is an A24 film directed by Robert Eggers, starring Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, and that is it. That is everyone involved in this movie. I mean, there's no one else in this film. No one that has any speaking lines, I should say. There's other people, but it doesn't matter at all. I really had no idea where to start with this film. I wasn't even going to do a review on it. I didn't see it opening weekend. I actually saw it on Halloween because I wanted to see a good horror film. And this movie... I have no idea what category this movie is. I don't know if you can put a genre to this. I don't know if it's horror, if it's thriller, if it's a mystery, or if it's biblical. Beats me. But like I said, I wasn't planning on doing a review, but after seeing this movie, I had to talk about it. I mean, this movie it's out there, and I'm warning, I'm gonna say a lot of things about this movie. I'm gonna spoil it because I want to talk about my theory in it. So if you're planning on seeing this movie, which I would recommend, unless you're not into an artsy film, like it's really all about how it looks. It's shot in a 1:19:1 aspect ratio, so it's like a box on the screen. It's shot in black and white. It feels like a film from 1890. I mean, it's claustrophobic, it's dark, it's black and white. So if you're not a movie lover, then you're probably not going to want to see this film. I mean, I recommend it to anyone, but that's just a warning. Also, I'm going to spoil some things, so there's another warning. Starting with this film then, going from there, it's really entertaining. I thought it was really funny. First off, it's a story about Robert Pattinson's character is a man hopping from job to job, and Willem Dafoe's character is a wickie, which I didn't even know what that was before going into the movie. But a wickie is someone who takes care of the light at the top of a lighthouse, and that is it. That's a wickie. But Pattinson's character, his name's Ephraim, is trying to become a wickie. At least that's what we know from what he says in this film. And Dafoe's character, Wake, won't let him ever get to the light. And that's what drives Pattinson's character throughout this entire film. It drives him to insanity because he wants to know what's up there. It's like a child being told no, and then they keep going after it. It's like they're not going to stop. If you say no, they're not going to be like, oh, okay, he said no, I'm done. That's pretty much Pattinson's character in this movie. He's like, I have to know what is up there. And from the viewer, it's like, it's a light. Like, what else could it be? But Dafoe's character is very protective about what's up there. He doesn't want him to know what's up there, and at night we see him like pleasuring himself to the light, almost treating it like a god, like worshiping to it. Also, he keeps it locked off. He doesn't let Ephraim or Pattinson's character touch the keys to get up there. It's just a no-go zone for him, and obviously, like I said, he wants to find out what's up there. So they're both on the island alone for 4 weeks, trying to just manage the lighthouse. But a storm comes, and they miss their 4-week ride home, and they realize, we're stranded here, and we didn't really plan on that. So they kind of just slowly lose their mind in this film, and that's probably the best part about it, is that you get to see someone slowly kind of like, I honestly felt like I lost my mind watching this movie, because you don't know who is telling the truth. I had no idea if Pattinson's character claimed who he was claiming to be, or like if he was right in that, and I have no idea if Dafoe's character was actually a wickie. And it's really interesting to see that, because like this, it's hard to explain if you haven't seen the movie. But the best way to explain it is, this is the first movie where I've left a theater and looked at my friend and I just said to him, I have no idea what happened in that movie. Like, not a clue. I don't know what happened. It just makes no sense. But yet, it makes a lot of sense. Like, it's really interesting to watch. Because, I'll get into my theory about it later. But, it's super hard to explain. You just have to see the film. Robert Eggers does a really good job showing how they lose their minds. Like, you can just tell, oh, is that really happening? Oh, is he really says who he is? Oh, was that a dream? Is that just something that he was imagining? But you can't really tell what's real and what isn't real. And that's really good because, like I said, you don't know. You feel like you're losing your mind with the character, and I really liked that. I liked that a lot. But, basically, a spoiler synopsis of the story is that Ephraim, that's Pattinson's character, I'm going to call him Ephraim, Wake is Defoe's character. Ephraim, he finally kind of drives Defoe nuts to the point where he becomes dominant over Defoe, or over Wake, and he gets the keys from Wake, and at the very end he makes his way up to the lighthouse, and he's staring at the light. We don't get to see what's in the light at all, like nothing. All we see is a shot of bloody Ephraim screaming louder and louder and louder, and as he stares at it, and then he falls down the stairs, he snaps his leg, and we see him tumble down the stairs. And then the very next shot, I don't even know how to describe it. The very next shot, we see Ephraim's character naked on the rocks with his eyes pecked out by seagulls, and his body is being eaten by seagulls, but he's still alive. And then there's no lighthouse in the background. Like, there's no lighthouse on the rock. And it is, I mean, it's weird, it's disturbing to see, but my theory about it is, now for someone who has seen the movie, this is where you're going to care about it. My theory about it is that the movie represents purgatory. And I know lots of people are talking about it being Greek mythology with Prometheus and Poseidon, but my theory is that Defoe's character represents God, and Ephraim's character, Pattinson's character, represents just a murderer, who was put in purgatory because of the crime he committed, which was murder. We do find that out halfway through the film. He committed murder, and he's changed his identity. So I believe that it's shot in black and white, and it feels really claustrophobic because of how small it is, and like they're stuck on this island, they can't go anywhere else. And he's put through this grueling work day after day because Wake, Defoe's character, doesn't let him go up to the lighthouse. He has to clean the floorboards, shovel the coal. He has to do all the like hard, grimy work. He has to carry the kerosene up the stairs. But so it's like he's doing the work to become the wiki. Sorry, couldn't think of the name. He's doing the hard work to become a wiki, which I think is like trying to get to heaven because he's trying to get upstairs to see the light. And he knows he's not supposed to see the light yet, but he knows like he will see it someday. But he gets impatient, and I think that's what he doesn't know, like how long it's been. He feels it's just day after day I'm doing this hard work, and he's just sitting there watching me, and I'm doing everything. So I think that kind of represents like God putting Ephraim in purgatory and kind of like testing him to see, well, is he good enough to go to heaven, or should I keep him here in hell? And I think that God sends him to hell because of that ending scene. We see him being eaten out by a bird, like his guts are being eaten by a seagull, which actually keeps reappearing throughout the film. There's a seagull that constantly lands in front of him and he won't shoo away, and finally Ephraim's character just picks it up and beats it against a rock. Like he's killed it, and for another minute he just beats it against the rock, and it's a bloody string of feathers. And you can really tell that was what convinced me that it was about heaven or hell and like being in purgatory, because he wasn't supposed to do that. God told him, or Defoe's character said, that's bad luck, don't you do that, otherwise bad things are going to start happening. and that is what sets off bad things. So I think it's that when he kills that seagull, it represents like, oh, this is where it's going to all end, because seagulls are eating his guts. And so I think he goes to hell because it's just a struggle. He's still alive, but he's suffering because of his inability to just wait patiently to see the light at the top of the lighthouse. He ends up killing Defoe's character, or he doesn't really kill him, I guess. He puts an axe in his head. I don't know if you count that as killing him, especially in this movie. Nothing made sense. But then he makes his way up to the lighthouse, and he sees it, and he starts screaming, almost like it's pain, but good pain, like he enjoyed it. And then we get that final shot of him dying on the rocks, but he's not dead yet, and he has his eyes eaten out. There's birds pecking at his guts and everything, and it's really gross. But I think it's got a hidden message of heaven or hell, and lots of people are talking about the Greek mythology story about Prometheus, about how he was chained to a rock and birds would eat his stomach, and then the next day they would have grown back and birds would come again and they'd eat his stomach, and it's like constant repeating. So I think that has something to do with it. I do think Robert Eggers tied in his mythology. He's known for that, doing that in like The Witch, his first film. But I think my theory really made sense to me, obviously, because of the whole it's not horrible, it's not suffering every day, it's just a lot of hard work. And then at the end, he could have waited to go to the lighthouse and see the light, and like when he was supposed to be able to, but instead he ended up disobeying God's orders and killing him, pretty much like throwing him to the side, saying, I'm doing this on my own, I don't need you, I'm not doing your work anymore. And then he gets eaten by birds. Now, like I said, if you haven't seen the movie and you're listening to this, you're thinking, this sounds horrible, like this sounds dumb. Go see this movie. Like, I know I said you're not going to like it if you're an artsy person, but whoa. The experience watching this movie, like I said, it's funny. Even if you don't get it for the hidden meaning, there's a lot of fart jokes in this movie, and I found it hilarious. It was really funny. I mean, there's a couple awkward masturbation scenes, but even those are kind of funny. I mean, if you have a sense of humor, you're gonna laugh. Robert Eggers knows that, and I really enjoyed it. But there's some creepy moments to it. It is supposed to be an English horror, I believe is the category or the genre it was put in. But there's some disturbing parts to it. Nothing extremely gory except for that final scene. But there's some, like, I have no idea what's going on, and there's one jump scare. It scared the crap out of me, and jump scares don't do that for me, which I really enjoyed in this movie. But it's like I said, it's just hard to put into words how to describe this movie, and I really liked it. Like I said, I left, and it was on my mind for the rest of the day. I saw this on Halloween, so I went home and I actually watched another A24 film, Hereditary. Recommend that movie. It's a great film. But throughout that entire film, I just sat there thinking about the lighthouse because of how deep it was. Yet it has two characters in the entire movie. Like, what? 2 characters? And yet here I am sitting in a room like 3 hours after seeing the movie, and all I can think about is, but what did the 2 characters mean when they said this? Well, speaking of saying things, it's really hard to understand them. They have English sailor accents, but I think you can, if you're actually invested in the film, you can look past that. And yeah, I really like this movie. I say go see it, even if you're not an art film lover. I recommend it because maybe this could get you into that. But yeah, on to my rating. That being said, I have to give this film an A-. Okay, so that's my review for The Lighthouse. I talked a lot of spoilers in this video, obviously, if you made it all the way through the video. But if you've seen the movie, you know why I talked a lot of spoilers in this video, because it's a weird film. Like, it's super strange, and you have to talk about it with somebody. Like, I saw this movie with a buddy, He looked at me and he goes, "That sucked when it ended. Like, lights came up and he hated it." And I thought it was great. Like, I needed to talk to somebody about it. No one in my family has seen this movie. None of my other friends have seen this movie. I don't know anyone that has seen this movie except for people on the internet. And, like, I can't have a face-to-face conversation with people on the internet. So I wanted to make a movie or a video about it. And it is a weird movie, but I really recommend it. It's strange. It's disturbing. It's good. Go see this movie. If you do go see it, comment down below what you thought of it. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts on this video. Like, share, subscribe. Do whatever you want. I don't know. Just share this video. Let other people see it. And no, I will be doing another review next week after Dr. Sleep comes out. Really looking forward to that movie, a sequel to The Shining, starring Ewan McGregor. I'll be doing that probably Friday night, maybe early Saturday. But keep your eyes peeled for that video. So, as always, enjoy the movie.